and thank you for joining me today on Loyal World Info. Another day of the global spinning, another day of global news to digest. I offer a sane, rational voice for an insane, rational time. I will be your host, but first, let me share a little bit about me. I look forward to waking up to the international news like a child opening a Christmas present. I never know how I will act or activities I will do until after I unwrap my present. In the news case, what will I learn? What will it cause me to think about? What will I reflect back on? And what will I share with others? Stay with me and let's open presents together. Now, let's get into today's topics. Hello. Okay, today is August 17th, 2020, and the topics of today of international importance are Lao students Abscond from Vietnamese colleges to cross border illegally. Prawit affirms people's right to rally, express opinions. New Zealand delays general election until October amid virus outbreak. Google sends open letter to Aussies threatening to charge free services. Seoul church under fire for mass infections. Pair arrested for blasting adult video audio inside a train station toilet in Japan. People come together to help a distressed man, and fear of Convid-19 in art. Stay with me and let's get into these stories. Okay, so let's keep with our first story of the day. Lao students abscond from Vietnamese college and cross borders illegally. So let's read a little bit about this. 54 students from Laos studying in Vietnam have returned to Laos without permission and have failed to place themselves under quarantine for 14 days in line with regulations. The Ministry of Education and Sports is calling on the 54 students to present themselves and enter into quarantine for 14 days. Those who fail to do so will be punished in accordance with the law and will not be allowed to return to their studies. The Quan Tri Department of Foreign Affairs reported the issue to the Consulate General of Laos in Da Nang last Sunday. The report stated that on the 24th of July, 56 Lao students at the Quan Tri Medical College absconded from their dormitories and returned to Laos without authorization. Meanwhile, the Lao Ministry of Education and Sports issued a notice yesterday stating that the students had left their dormitory in Vietnam in accordance with the report from the Lao consulate in Da Nang, Vietnam. Only 39 of the students held valid passports, while the remainder did not. The students returned to their homes in Swakavina, Sabah, and Khamos provinces. The summer vacation period for students at Qua Tri Medical College is from July 20th to 25th of August. In late July, the Students Management Board at the university found 56 students missing from the dormitory. 2 of the students returned to the university in Vietnam, but were discovered and placed into quarantine by the Vietnamese authorities. The Lao Prime Minister and the National Task Force have assigned the provincial offices of education and sports in Sabah with locating the students and ensuring they are placed in quarantine for 14 days. Following the quarantine period, if the students do not exhibit symptoms of COVID-19, They and their parents or guardians are to be reprimanded for breaking the laws and regulations of border both countries. Those who fail to make themselves known and enter quarantine will not be permitted to return to Vietnam to complete their studies. Laos has confirmed 22 cases. Okay, so this is why this is important for international. One, I learned that Da Nang has the Lao consulate. I thought it was Ho Chi Minh, cool. But even though many students may come in, and this happens in America as well, they come in on a travel visa or student visa, then they overstay their studies, and then they try to leave, but their visa is expired. Okay, fine. That may not be the case in these students, but that's one instance. Another instance is maybe these students did go home, but now they're either human trafficking or they're bringing in drugs, or whatever, illegal products. So that's why they should go into a port of entry. Now, thirdly, you have these people that are coming in that may or may not be sick because while they did travel from Da Nang to Laos, which, by the way, that's pretty much going across the country, they could have easily walked past somebody who had Convid and got sick themselves, and now they're bringing it in. So this is why immigration borders and laws have to be enforced, whether it's by the government or the citizens in this case need to be responsible. What is your thought on this, though? Do you think you should be able to just easily return to your home country, no questions asked? Or what should people do if they overstay their visa, or should they stay put? Leave your opinions below. Like, comment, subscribe. I want to know. Okay, let's get in with our second story of the day. Prawit affirms people's right to rally and express opinions. By the way, this story comes from Thailand, and Thailand is pretty much a communist country. So, let's read the article. Deputy Prime Minister Prawit Wongson said on Monday, people can stage rallies and express their opinions as long as they do not infringe on the rights of other people. He also acknowledged that the Constitution needs amending. General Pazat was speaking at the government house in response to the reports questions about the mass anti-government demonstration by the Free People group at the Democracy Monument in Bangkok on Sunday night. The demonstration issued a statement calling on the government to set up a constitutional drafting committee to write a new constitution based on the will of the people and to stop harassing individuals expressing their democratic rights. They also demanded the government dissolve Parliament. Wow, that's pretty extreme. The demonstrators said that they would lift their anti-government movement to the higher level if the three-point demand was not met. General Prawit said the protesters can express their opinions, which may be different from others, as long as they do not infringe on the right of other people. The government is duty-bound to provide the security of the demonstrators, he said. Asked why the government had not done anything since the gathering convened, the emergency decree, which is still in force, General Prawit retorted, "What can we do?" Asked about how he felt about seeing such a large number of anti-government demonstrators on Sunday night, General Prawit declined to answer and walked away. In a subsequent interview, General Prawit said that the Parchment Party was ready for a constitutional amendment and the party members would propose changes through its executive board. It must be amended, General Prawit said, referring to the Constitution. So this is cool. The reason I brought this up as international news, one, I don't know why really Thailand people are demonstrating, but do you know much about your constitution and what rights you have and what you don't? And I did. So if you do, would you share them below? What something that your country offers you in the constitution that you are proud of? Another thing that was brought up, I like how he said people can demonstrate as long as they don't hurt or affect other people. Keep this in mind with America and Americans who are burning cities down and they're shooting people, harassing them, and doing all these crazy things to businesses and such. So they are actually hurting people. So I like how this general is trying to give his people freedom, but saying, you know what, do it in a peaceful way. And the last question I have for you is, what amendment has your constitution or government done over the years? How has it changed when they added a bill, whether it's something you can do or cannot do through an amendment? I would be interested to know what country you are from and what amendment was added to either give you more freedom or take freedoms away. Please like, comment, subscribe, and I want to hear your opinion on this. Okay, our next article comes from New Zealand, as New Zealand delays general election until October amid virus outbreak. So let's get into this, and I will explain why I feel it is international news. Sydney, New Zealand Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern said on Monday the country's general election will be delayed for a month until mid-October due to recent coronavirus outbreak. The election, which was originally due to be held on September 19th, will now take place in October on the 17th. After a cluster of the coronavirus cases in the country's largest city, Auckland, grew to almost 60. I want to ensure we have a well-run election that gives the voters the best chance to receive all the information they need about parties and candidates and delivers certainty for the future, Ardern said at the press conference. Moving the date by 4 weeks also gives all parties a fair shot to campaign and deliver New Zealand's certainly without unnecessary long delays. She added, ruling out the possibility of her ordering a further postponement. The resurgence of the community transition of the new virus in the New Zealand last week came just days after the country recorded 100 days of zero locally acquired cases. Wow, Vietnam had 0 and then it went up to about 60 like New Zealand just did for 100 days. On Friday, Ardern announced that Auckland will continue to remain under level 3 restrictions, the second highest of the government's 4-level system, for a total of 2 weeks. The rest of New Zealand will also remain a slightly more relaxed level 2 restrictions until August 27th. Since the beginning of the pandemic, New Zealand has recorded 1,280 cases and 22 deaths. Wow, Vietnam is almost at that. Okay, so why did this make international news? It was not really, in my opinion, due to the virus outbreak. But all too often you have a democratic country who has 2 or more parties. The party that's in power will love to delay an election if it gives them the option to propose and pass more bills, whether it's new laws, new bills, and whatnot. So that's what I ask you guys. Do you think it's okay to postpone elections and give the party in power more time to pass bills that maybe you would support or maybe you hate? Or maybe there should be a different option. Maybe even when the postponement period, yes, they can pass budgets and such, but maybe there should be a law they can't pass some big breaking bill like no smoking, or I don't know, some new laws. Maybe, because that's, I think, would be a little fair. But what are your thoughts? Again, is it okay to postpone elections and keep government content, or do people have a right to vote when the date is set? Please like, comment, subscribe. I'd love to know. Okay, moving on to our next article today. This one is a quite diverse article, and I would like to hear your thoughts. Google sends open letter to Aussies, threatening to change free services due to the news code. Tech giant Google has unleashed a scare campaign on millions of its Australian users today, systematically claiming free services search results and users' income and personal data could be put at risk if made to pay for news it uses. In an open letter, the trillion-dollar tech firm warned internet and video search results would be made dramatically worse by the Australian Competition and Consumer Commission's new bargaining code, announced 2 weeks ago, and claims the way Aussies search every day on Google is at risk. And I actually read this article before I posted it. I think what Google is doing is a scare tactic, because most companies look out for themselves, not you. They just want you to have sympathy for them. Secondly, the way this code goes, without reading all of it into you, right now, Google, when you type something in Google, it will search the internet for what you want, and then it will give you the information. But it does not pay any money to the service or website that you go to. So the news reporter who put that article together that you read does not get paid. Therefore, it's good for Google and it's good for you in one sense, but it's not good for the reporter because the reporter gets nothing. So what Australia did is they said, Google, if you are going to use services for Australian, then you have to pay us for every time you use our service. If XYZ person does a search and comes up to our article in your database, they click on it, you owe that company, that person, money. So what do you think on that? Do you think right now everything should be free, whether it's for the reporters and for the search engines? Because the search engines do make money on their ads. So, when you do a click, sometimes they get money that way. Other times they get money through an ad. You see a banner on the site, or if it's a phone app like YouTube, you see an advertisement beforehand. So Google is threatening if they go through with this, they will perhaps charge you, the citizen, a monthly fee or whatnot. So what do you think? Do you think it's okay? Or do you think it's more of a scare tactic? And maybe perhaps what Australia is doing, the EU, America, and other countries should do. Would that make reporting more profitable again? Would that create GDP, or would that create jobs? That's what I want to know. And please like, comment, subscribe. I would like to hear back from you. Okay, moving on to our next story of the day is Seoul churches under fire for mass infections, uncooperative response to the virus test. And this takes place because there's a new outbreak of COVID-19 cases in Seoul that are related to a church. Before I get into this, you might recall that the original outbreak was a different church in Daegu, Korea. That's where they had their mass outbreaks. The church gathered together and they created a big pandemic. And then the churches have also been involved in other things, Like in the past, a church owner was in charge of a big ferry boat from Korea to Jeju Island, but it always carried too much weight, and the boat sunk with all these high school students, so they all died. But again, that was a church-owned boat, and they were more for profit or whatever. So let's get into this story, because I find it ironic that the churches in Korea cause so much drama and chaos that I don't even think they're the traditional churches. So let's go. New coronavirus infections linked to a church in northern Seoul continued to surge on Monday, not only causing concerns over additional causes among the members, but also public backlash against the church and its leaders against the uncooperative response. Cases traced to Sangjeon Jade Church in northern ward of Songbuk reached 319 as of noon, up 70 cases from the previous day, according to the Central Disease Control Headquarters. With the latest figure, the church has emerged as the country's second biggest virus, following the 5,214 cases associated with the Shenjai, a fringe religious sect that was deemed accountable for the mass infections in the southeastern city Daegu earlier this year. See, that's the one I was telling you about a few seconds ago. Despite the repeated warnings from the government, members of the church, led by the conservative pastor John Kwang-hoon, attended the Mass Liberation Day rally in the central Seoul on Saturday. Health authorities voiced concern that the numbers of victim of virus cases tied to the church may further rise as thousands of elderly participants shouted slogans and were in close contact of one another, exposing them to infection risk. Of the 4,000 churchgoers whom the authorities have identified as midnight, 3,400 have been placed in quarantine and 2,000 have been screened. Of the total, 312 have been tested positive, with translated to a high positive rate of 16 to 1%, and calls for a swift testing and quarantine. Kim urged people who attended the mass rally to visit nearby screening centers and be tested. Well, good thing Korea has a national health system, because I can't picture people paying for this. Since the list of churchgoers is inaccurate, there are difficulties in tracking down every church member and placing them under quarantine. And there is a considerable number of churchgoers has not been tested. In addition to churches linked cases, the health authorities warn that chain transmission is spreading to other facilities outside of Seoul. And this gets on a little more, because the head guy in this church was also part of the Daegu one, and he had a warrant for his arrest, and he posted bail, but they said you can't do any more rallies. So my question for you is, this guy broke his bail restrictions, and then why do these people think that they can just go out and cheerlead and get everybody sick? Why? Why can't they just worship online or TV or whatnot? Why do they want to infect everybody? So leave your comments below. And how do you feel about these people that were supposedly spreading God's love, but we're going around your houses, your businesses, and getting you sick? Please like, comment, subscribe. I want to know. Okay, our next story takes place in Japan in a public bathroom, pretty much a disabled access bathroom. So, you know how they're wider for wheelchairs, they have the bars and then changing tables and stuff. And I'll read it and I'll let you guys get in on it. Okay, so on this one particular day, people in the subway were gathering to go on the train. And then They were surprised to hear the sounds of a passionate lovemaking coming from behind the door of a facility's multi-purpose restroom. Again, disabled restrooms in the West. The sound continued for 5 uninterrupted minutes, during which time someone informed the station staff, who came to investigate, and turned out to be the work of a 26-year-old man who was playing the sounds from a porno video inside the restroom on a speaker with the sound cranked up. While this might sound a little strange ploy for the man's personal sexual gratification, the driving force behind the incident were merely the man's other great desire, money and fame. Following the discovery of the speaker, a camera was found in the hallway outside the restroom. It turns out the 26-year-old, who was working with a 23-year-old accomplice, is an aspiring YouTuber and was planning to upload the video to a platform to the shocked reactions of a passerby who heard the sound of humping interrupting from the bathroom. Instead of getting internet famous, though, the pair have now been officially charged with the police. The violation of the public nuisance ordains. Nuisance is public troublemaker, which both men have admitted. The video they recorded was also confiscated on the spot and thus won't be uploaded to YouTube or any video streaming service. The highlight, it seems like the YouTube plan was doomed to end with him getting caught, but maybe he was counting on the tendency many Japanese have to not get involved when they see something unusual going on, and figured enough people would react but not tell anyone about the sounds they get from the footage they wanted. They can collect their camera and make it their getaway before the audiences get involved. So this was kind of funny for YouTube attention span. But the reason I want to make international news, have you or any of your friends done anything extreme, whether it's Instagram, YouTube, or any other social media? Have you done anything extreme to try to get likes, subs, or whatnot? And furthermore, what is the most extreme thing you have seen that you clickbait to watch that somebody has done? And what would you do to get such fame or attention if that's what you want? Please like, comment, and subscribe. And what do you think about what this man did? Was his actions okay in today's time, or was he a nuisance? Okay, our next story. People come together to help distressed man and his dementia-stricken mother at mall. Okay, and I'm not going to read this whole story, but I'm going to give you the layout of it. This man the son was with his mom at a shopping center. The mom has dementia, which means her brain cannot relate to what's going on around her. She's very forgetful and whatnot. So she goes to the bathroom in her pants. She soils her underwear and whatnot, and she feels embarrassed. Her son tries to comfort her, but is not too successful. So a bystander comes by, picks a dress up off of the rack in this shopping mall, and she puts it on this elderly girl, and she holds her hand. While this person who is helping her, she doesn't know the same language as the person she's helping. So she's like, I don't know what I can do, but I can hold her hand and just try to comfort her. By the time this is all going on, the police officers do come, for whatever reason. And the store was going to charge this bystander the money for the dress. because, well, this person tried it on, now it's dirty. That's kind of the way it's a little different in Asia versus America. America, you have the changing rooms, you go in, try things on, it's great, or no, go back. But in Asia, you try it on, you keep it. It's got your germs. So the police officer, though, in his case, he saw what was going on, and even though the shop owner was going to charge this bystander who was comforting the old woman money, he actually bought the dress for the old woman, and so everybody had a happy ending. But it went a little further than that, because this whole thing was on camera, of course, because it's a shopping mall, and somebody put it on YouTube, and the act of kindness generated a lot of attention. 2,200 shares and 4,100 reactions. So see, in this day and age, people like seeing others do things that are positive and helpful in their community. And furthermore, while in the US, there's a big backlash against the police officers, this is just another example of police officers doing good for their communities. So that's what I want to leave you with. What community work have you seen or helped out in that you're proud of to be part of? And what have the police done that has given you a positive impression of law enforcement in your area? Please like, comment, subscribe. I really want to hear your stories. Okay, this is the last article of the day. Fear of COVID-19 in art. And while I can scroll down and show you some pictures of the art of our day, the art of our time, I really recommend you look in the link to the description below and you go to the website itself. I don't want to copy and paste this into a PowerPoint, and I want you to see the art from the website directly. But in our first picture, you see kind of like a spike bomb. Somebody's wearing the mask, and the spike bomb is kind of like all the germs around your mouth that can share the virus. So that's one of the first pictures of our time. And this actually is opened up again from the Melmar. The Melmar is putting a museum of COVID-19 art. Another one is they did a stand against hate, because people are trying to say, hey, you got this virus, you know, you or your group of people are sick, stay away. So people kind of did tagging with that. And this one's okay, but I've seen it quite many times. But this particular one I really like. This one is, again, the COVID-19 virus, but you can see purple, blue, green, yellow, and all the viruses. And I have to admit that artist did a really good job. So I recommend it's something to look at, whether you think it's Convid or any kind of germ. And lastly, we have this elderly healthcare worker who's, you know, a sign of our times, the healthcare people putting their lives on the line to help you stay healthy. Well, now we're expressing them in our art. And then here, some people now in this picture, they're going against big public gatherings, whether it's football stadiums or any outdoor convention or whatnot. There's kind of saying, you know what, stay apart, go away, isolate yourself, distance yourself. So the virus is robbing you of your freedom to gather and see and share your country and memories with your friends. What do you think about this art piece? So that's what I wanted to share. Is there any art in your country that has come up around the COVID-19, whether it is paintings or maybe it's drawing or maybe it's origami or different kind of art? There's many kinds of artwork that you could recommend or share with others. Please like, comment, and subscribe below. I love to see what art you have found that involves this. Well, that will conclude Loyal World News. Thank you for spending your time with me today. Feel free to like, subscribe, or drop a comment below. If you're on the go, listen to my podcast with the link provided in the description. I will see you tomorrow to share more world news.